everybody, this is Peggy for Cropstop.com, and today I want to show you, as promised, the new embossing folder called Lattice Work, and it's from Creative Expression. Here's the card that I made. This is the embossing part back here. I mean, it looks like a real lattice. Let me show you some of the other things that we're going to use. Well, of course, I already told you this. This is from Creative Expressions. This is kind of an exclusive to Cropstop. I don't know anybody else that carries them. Of course, somebody might, but for us, it's Cropstop. We are going to use the little Scor-Buddy. Mine's got little dust bunnies on it. This is really a handy little tool if you're going to go to like a crop or if you're going to a scrapbooking thing where you need to score things. It packs really nice. It's got its own little bag. We're going to use that. Then these are some new little flowers that we have, paper blooms. There was a honey one and I think a white one. I'm not sure of all the different colors. By Kaiser Craft. I think that's how you say it. Kaiser Craft. I'm going to call it Kaiser. Then I'm going to use some of my inks, my all-time favorite Distress inks, and black memento. Well, let's get started. Let me show you how I made this card. Now let's start by doing our embossing. The really nice thing about these embossing folders from Creative Expressions is the fact that they're 5x7. Now, let me bring my card back in here. I almost always do an A2 size card, but one of the problems that I've had with a lot of the other folders, and I'm not picking on any one certain company because they all about do it, when you emboss and you're doing an A2 card with an A2 folder, you always get this crease, either at the top or the bottom, and a blank spot. Well, that's why I like using 5x7s, because I obviously can do a 5x7, but it also gives me a really nice edge when I'm doing my A2 size card. So I'm going to use a piece of glossy cardstock, and I'm going to put this in, and then we're going to cut it down a little bit. Of course, we're going to use our Cuttlebug. Let me bring her in here. She's my all-time favorite embossing machine. And we're going to use an A plate, B plate, folder paper, and a B plate. And we're just going to run her through there. I got to hold on because I got it sitting on top of my craft mat. Makes it a little slippery. Alright, let me move her out of the way. Now I want you to take a look at how deep this embossing is. Can you see that? I don't know if they can see that on camera, but watch what happens when I add a little bit of Distress ink to it. There's such a deep embossing to this. I always grab my hand deep embossing to this. It's really nice, as I said before, when using these folders, when you use metal, because when you sand it, you don't sand down in between. It really looks great. So then let me do this. I'm going to bring in my Distress ink and one of my little foam applicators, get the little fuzzies off of there. And again, I'm using my craft mat, and I always tell you this is a great little tool. Whoop, take that right off there. We're going to put some dry Distress ink, oh, for heaven's sakes, get it real juicy. Now, remember when doing this, you want to start off of your paper. If you come straight on it, you'll get a blob. So I always come in a circular motion and just start inking it up. Let me bring that up close. Isn't that just really cool? Look how it gives me a really light shadow in the background, like a two-tone, but then the embossed areas are nice and dark. I forgot to mention, the one I'm using is called pumice stone. The reason I picked it is because, you know, when we first put our lattice work up in real life, it's always really, really white. But when it weathers, it does kind of give you this pumice stone kind of color. So that's why I picked this. So there you are. You're just going to ink it up. The other really nice thing about this, which I'm going to try on another card, I've decided, is I'm going to cut just a section of this, and then I think I might try taking my craft knife and cutting and maybe weaving my greenery. On this one, I didn't do that. Let me bring it back in and show you. My greenery behind the flowers here was actually cut with my Cricut. I designed it on the Gypsy, and I used a picturesque Cricut folder, or Cricut cartridge to get this, and I made it fit to length so it'd be the right one. But what I'm thinking is that I could take a craft knife and I could kind of weave it so it actually would look like the greenery was going between my lattice. But I really like this. Oh, I forgot to mention, look at this ribbon. Let's bring that close up. It's two-tone. Cropstop sent me a bunch of this. I love it, the two-tone. Oh, okay, where was I? Oh yeah, inking it up. Get some more ink on there, coming off the edge, and giving it some inking up here. And then we would just continue on with that. And depending on how dark you wanted the embossed areas, of course, how much ink you want to put on there. There, let me close that one up. Now let me bring my cutter in here. Scoot back and grab my cutter. Oh, making a little racket there. Okay, we're going to cut this down. that's the way I want to do it. I'm not sure. This is the wrong cutter. I actually wanted my bigger one. So if that's 4, I'd say that's 5. That's a guesstimate. Alright, and then we're going to take the side off of here. Now the reason I wanted to go ahead and cut this is because what I do, I come back in with my sponge applicator and my ink, and I ink up the edges real good because I think I might have cut this one too small, but you know what, I'll use it for something. I always do. I just grabbed the wrong cutter. Alright, take that back over here. So what I want you to do then when you do the edges, I just ink it up again, and again coming off the edge, but then I just go on the edge. Now on camera it may not show, but what this does is give it a finished look on the edges. A lot of people like to double mat, and I would do that, except in this particular card, it's already going to cost me extra because my flowers are, you know, thick, so I didn't want to add any more paper to it. So I thought, well, this is another way to do that, to give it the look of matting, but there's really none there. Alright, let's close that up. So there you go. I don't think you can really see that on the edge. Alright, I found my piece of cardstock. This is just regular cardstock. I'm not really sure where I got it. But what it originally was, an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. To make your A2 cards, you're going to cut it directly in half. So it's going to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. So you just take your 11 inch this way and just cut it right down the middle, and you're perfect. What's really nice about this little Scor-Buddy, now you know there's also, whoops, well, there it went on the floor. The Scor-Pal, which is the great big one, that's the one I use in my studio all the time. For purposes here today, I want to use this one on my little work surface. But again, it is just perfect size to take with you if you're going to go to a class and you're going to need to take a Scor-Pal with you to do your scoring, or if you're doing a crop or one of those things. Let me grab my little scoring tool. Just go on the floor here. Here we go. Now, I want to show you here, and I want the camera to see if it can get close. It's marked really, really nicely here for you. So when doing it 8.5, is that right? And let's see. Yeah, my 8.5 length is this way. Right here at this little teeny star, that's going to be where I'm going to mark it to be in the center. And I want you to watch. This thing just scores beautifully. You just put it in the little rut, pull it towards you, and you always want to do mountain in. So I'm going to fold right over, move this out of the way. You've got your little scoring tool with you, and you can just use your little bone folder on the other end and give yourself a nice seam. Now look how perfect that is every time. Then what we're going to do, I would bring this in. Now, as I said, I didn't cut this quite the way I wanted to, but you know what, I'm going to just put it on there anyway because I'll come up with something. Again, I'm using my big ATG gun, and I have 2 of these. I do one with the regular adhesive in there for cards. They also put out one that's directly for doing scrapbooking, so I keep it in a different gun so that I don't use it in the wrong way. It's so that it's acid free and it saves on your pictures, of course. If you're a scrapbooker, you already know that. And I just want to tell you, my name is Peggy, but I put M on there because that stands for mine. That's so that people keep their hands off of it. Anywhoots, let me see if I can line this up somewhat even. And just put it right on there. And there you go. That would be the front of your card. So, let me bring my card back in and show you. There's my background. And again, I know you can't see around the edge, but it really does make a difference if you do that little border around there. The Thinking of You is actually from Heartfelt Creations. They have the most beautiful stamps in the whole wide world, and a lot of their stamps will come with the sentiment right in there. This particular one, I believe, came with an Easter set. I think it was Easter set, or I don't know which one it was. Anyway, I just really like those two. Well, I guess I showed you everything I can. Make sure to stop over at cropstop.com and pick yourself up an embossing folder from Creative Expressions. Check out all the other ones. They are awesome. Okay, see you later. Bye!